Go on.
Which scene would you love to experience? What do you like? Your face. This is an important question.
This is a crazy question.
I'm a big fat chicken. I don't want to do any of that.
You can't pick one.
I kind of liked the scene. I really liked the scene, actually, where she thought that the boy had her phone and Shiloh attacked him. I was like, yeah, good girl, Shiloh. Get him. So I would be like, yeah, Shiloh. I don't know. All of it is scary. All of it is gross. I don't want it.
So the first blissful moments before she opened the door to see Thomas and his family? Before the whole book happened.
Yeah, where she has like her glass of wine and she's cooking dinner.
And she's ready for her.
You're saying the scene you want to be in was with the dog attacked the kid.
That is what I just said. Yeah,
where she realizes she's going crazy because the window changed.
I don't give a shit about your kids.
Okay, that's a strange place.
I'll remember that later.
I definitely would have said the very beginning when she was waiting for her girlfriend to play board games and before Thomas came to her house personally. Before the entire book.
I did also have the thought of when they were both just sitting in the living room with the fire and the wine when the family was in bed. I don't know. I didn't want any part of being in any of that.
See, that part creeps me out because I don't like strangers and I don't like the dark and whatever.
And who knows if they're actually in their room
and what they're doing. And he wasn't.
And he wasn't.
You know what?
Right.
I disagree with you though. I would want to be in the basement when Jenny ran away at the very beginning of the book, right?
Yeah.
Because first of all, not in my house. We're going to find this bitch, and then we're going to pull her out. Like, you are not getting to just hide in my house.
Firstly, she could fit through that hole because she did it later.
She literally said, I can fit through this hole, and he said, no, she's going to come out biting and screaming and kicking. And I'm like, then you go get your kid.
Then she comes out biting and kicking and screaming.
Like, you gotta go. Yeah. You're parenting. This is not on me.
That was shitty parenting.
That was.
If Noah would have done that, I would beat the shit out of him in front of everybody.
Yeah.
But it was strategic. Like, it was all in his plan. It had to have been in his plan.
Well, I mean...
Are they real? Is his family real?
I had multiple theories reading the book about the family.
I'm just asking.
I honestly feel like you know how little younger children are very innocent, and I really felt like her questioning everything was because she didn't know where she was, because she's been placed in all the different, what is it, like, not realms, but different universes. Right. So she was confused where she was. That's what my opinion is.
But that's a real question,
but
because
real, like, let's define real, right? So real in the sense that the family exists as an entity that travels with him, or real in the sense that, like, there are no other versions of her out there, or there are versions of her out there? Like, what do you mean?
Meaning, like, is this something that he does? Like, because obviously it's something that he does. He goes into these families' lives. Like, where did the family come from? Because the first girl, Allison, was his sister.
Not biologically.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, he came in and he fucked with their lives without a family. He became their family.
But you know that he wasn't really their family.
No, I know.
But in the beginning, though, he was saying that Allison was the one that was wandering around.
Yes.
And,
I think that the family that he created for himself, Paige and the 3 kids, at some point in one of the universes, he did meet Paige as a different person, and I think through their relationship and evolving, and then his visiting of the different, whatever you want to call them, she evolved to become this hyper-religious person because she was protecting herself from all these things she couldn't explain. And that's why Jenny the kid initially calls Eve Emma, because she is part of him, right? And he's already got this plan going, and she's part of that. She seems more in tune with her dad than any of the other kids. The other kids don't care.
Right.
So I think that they are real, but they are real in the sense that the kids are just part of him, and Paige was just what was needed to fulfill his next
Steps.
fantasy
there too.
or idea. So yeah, that's my take on it.
No, I had that thought. I was like, what is happening? Because if he's been doing this whole time, then he just conjured up some family and was like, this is my family now.
But if you were going to conjure up a family, you wouldn't choose somebody who is so drastically different from you. That's why I think that she really was real
And like trapped
and
with him
and
perpetually.
and trying to protect herself.
Well, what about the tattoo that she had taken off that was some like part of the house or something? But they never really dwelled on it
Are you
afterward.
talking about Charlie's tattoo?
No,
Paige's tattoo.
Paige's tattoo.
Which is why I think she's real. Is because if she wasn't real, she wouldn't have the tattoo.
Right.
Because if she's a later version, that tattoo would be gone. That's what.
But why is it part of his house? Why does she have a tattoo that's part of his house?
Ooh, that is a good question. I did not think about that.
That's what I was really. But it never. Did anybody else find out why?
No.
I mean,
I genuinely left this book slightly more confused.
Yes.
If I'm being honest,
Than I was when I started it.
Did you know that this book started? Okay, I'll bring that up later.
I had a couple of different theories throughout, but I felt like I left with a bit more questions than I anticipated leaving with. And I don't know if that was like a purposeful thing. There isn't another book.
Yes, there is.
There is
He's
there?
starting another book.
Oh, I don't know how.
I won't be reading it, so.
Me either.
another one bites the dust.
I didn't like how it ended.
Nobody did, as like what I read online, but
It was frustrating.
It was very frustrating, more so than not.
It was frustrating
I
because
was
you
like,
didn't
what?
know what was going on.
But then again,
There's no closure.
Right.
all the
What was going
different
on?
universes.
She was in a mental institute and her
She's
girlfriend's
cuckoo.
looking for her.
But in a different
because-
universe.
Yeah, but
Not universe though, it's
Or the
timeline.
parallel,
Like, you guys
whatever.
keep saying universe, but it's
Well,
more like
because
timeline.
it's the same.
It's like the
A
Marvel
different-
multi-universe.
Right. It's timeline universe. It's like we're saying universe because we're nerdy.
But it's not the same one because she literally does not exist anymore
Right, in that timeline.
in that timeline, and then her
She's in a different timeline.
her version of her girlfriend no longer exists. Like
Right,
they're completely separate.
right,
But at the
I-
end, she said that her girlfriend is missing.
right.
But she's the only
Yeah.
one who thinks that.
She's the only one that thinks
Everyone-
that because
like her parents don't.
Because,
even
Because
Charlotte is there, and
Yeah.
she was like, we broke up forever ago.
once Eve/Emma
Bumped
disappeared,
over.
once Eve moved into Emma, then she no longer existed in Charlie's timeline. So Charlie, she just disappeared.
I don't
it's
feel
so
like that.
crazy
I think that
because I
she
didn't
just
even
disappeared.
think for a second about it being different timelines,
Well, so that's
Like,
what
I
I,
didn't
thought it
think
was.
parallel
Different
nerds.
timelines. That-
Yeah.
parallel
No.
universes
See, Back
at
to the
all.
Future.
Oh,
That's what I
interesting.
thought.
I was thinking she went into the basement or the attic, whichever one that switch happened, and it was the basement. She went to the basement, the switch happened, that's where the like universe
portal is.
swappy
But like
thing.
the door or the cabinet, what was it where she was in? She was in something,
right.
and then she came
and
out
then
and
she
it was
came out and
totally
it was a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And so I pictured, I wouldn't say necessarily that her Charlie was gone. I would say that she was displaced from her space into another space, where that was their reality in my head.
Then how do you explain multiple Charlies at the same time?
Because, what do you mean?
So like
Because the
Because it was her
hotel.
phone.
The hotel when Charlie called her,
Right. Because
and she was with the
Charlie's
other
phone.
Charlie.
See, I was
Right?
thinking more paranormal.
Oh.
No, I was thinking the parallel.
I was thinking parallel too.
Because they
I
were
was
saying
I
that-
was going paranormal, is what my brain did.
Like an alien disrupting everybody's mindset? Or
I was
what?
thinking more of like hauntings, like
Ghost.
poltergeist.
Oh.
But then, what was that guy's name? I can't remember.
The guy
One
in
of
the
the
woods?
one of the inserts that they had in, where they went down to the basement and his friend. But that was like, to me, that was like a parallel universe. He came out, but his friends didn't come out. But his friends were still in the other place.
Right.
But he came out years later.
Right.
Because if you look at that one little in between where it deciphers whether you're a guest, whether you're a there were different. I wrote a lot of that down. That
I actually read it too because I was like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah, like whether you were a host, whether you were a guest, whether you that whole thing. It was page 153. If anybody wants to open their book to that,
I don't have books.
because that gave all the different definitions of like how long if you've been in the house longer than this, then you're a host. If you've been
Trespasser, tourist,
Yeah.
guide.
yeah, whether you're a tourist, whether you're a guide,
yeah.
it defined all of what you are in the house. I found that very interesting, by the way.
See, but even that to me is more like this to me is more alien.
And so
No.
for me, what I'm saying is that the young kid who went in with his friends, and then his friends are missing, and he emerges years later. But he was in that house the whole time. So he was one of those, I don't remember which one he was, because I didn't like back reference it, but he was like a guest or a traveler or something,
That was
according to those definitions.
Okay, 2
that was very
bedtime.
Yeah.
and 4. So 2 and 4 is what's one thing that would improve the book? Closure.
Closure. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like if it just had closure, I would feel much better about the book. Like, if not necessarily like neat wrapped up in a bow. Like, I do like the idea that it's suspenseful and the fact that it's like, whoa, what happened? But like some kind of more solidified information. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is Thomas? Like, how do we?
Is it alien?
Right. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, is he the old man that's
but
lived in
was
the
it
house for
Thomas?
centuries?
I actually wrote
But was
that.
it Thomas or was it the house?
Yeah. I think
But-
That's the good question.
Paranormal.
Because technically, it's probably
Is it the cabin?
house.
But that
not
is what I-
Thomas.
moves.
Thomas,
is
and
what I
he got
wrote.
sucked into the house.
I said
and then he became the one for her, but eventually he won't be anymore.
That's
and,
what I think.
You know, maybe she'll be the one sucking people into the house.
I said,
Yeah,
I
because
said,
you know why I think that is because remember when they were taking her away, and she saw Allison going into the whatever that girl's name is.
Yeah.
And she wasn't skinny or frail. She looked healthy, and she was going to the woods like, you know, now it's your turn, pretty
Yeah,
much.
now
like
it's-
maybe she's the one
yeah.
haunting everybody in the
Right.
the house.
well, I thought Allison was the one haunting everyone in the house. For a while, I actually thought that Paige was Allison.
Yeah.
But I wrote as one of my notes, Cabin Man is the real Tom.
So it's interesting that you say you thought that page was awesome because they make a point to comment on Jenny's eyes being really green. In the same way they talk about her eyes, they talk about Allison's eyes. So I wondered if there was some kind of relation in maybe a different universe, because that's why I was thinking between Paige and Allison, but not in this universe. So,
But I also think that in the beginning of the book, they wanted you to think that Allison was the problem.
Yeah.
But I think the problem was Tom the whole time.
Yeah,
yeah, I think
Right?
Tom is the issue.
Yeah.
I think she was stuck.
I think
That's how I
think
felt. I felt like Allison was stuck,
Like,
and then she's not stuck anymore because
He,
now
because
he
now
made
it's
her
her.
crazy.
Eve or Emma,
Right.
whatever.
I
the
think
hell
that
it
it's
is.
Tom and the house, or the cabin that's by the house,
I
because they
think
kept
the
mentioning the
cabin
cabin, the cabin, the cabin, the
It's
cabin,
epicenter.
and I
well,
think
yeah, right.
that Thomas, I think
It's
that
the old
Thomas
house.
is
That's
the
what it's
old
called.
man with the scar who lives in the house or whatever for centuries.
But
That's
you
but
think that's him, but
I
he
think
was
that's
sitting there
Thomas.
saying, "Don't trust them." So he's saying, "Don't
Right.
trust me."
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
old at that point.
But also the Morse code, if
I was
anyone
gonna say
followed
I hate
the
that.
along,
Morse
I hated
code
that
said
music.
something about
was
God.
the old man with the scar has lived in the cabin for centuries and goes by many different names.
Right. I read that.
Which is
And-
why
and
I
then
thought he was Thomas.
Yeah.
They were also saying in the Morse code when people were like really detecting it, saying that I didn't write it down. I read it before I came to.
I was gonna say, is this you Googling after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was completely confused.
Did lots of Googling after.
But it said that like he was a god. Like they made it like the man in the cabin was actually like a goddish figure. And he was the one that was manipulating. And the way they explained it was a parallel, and that certain parts in the parallel lines they overlapped. They was thinner, which then changed the story. Which I was like, oh yeah.
That
Maybe.
makes sense.
I don't know, but I was really confused. And then I
Yeah.
read so much about it afterwards, I would give him more confused.
I didn't do
just
any
left it
reading
alone.
about it after
Neither
any
did I.
I didn't
because I wanted
either.
to come here and see what everybody thought.
I wanted to know what the Morse code said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I
There
was
like
literally
this whole big theory about
I was literally a
I-
psycho.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I was
do
gonna
that.
say I
Oh, I was
literally.
messing up with these.
I literally wrote every single one of the in between
Did
things
you write?
down.
I did too. It's on my
Yeah.
thing, but
So there's
there
something. There's something
and-
about the capital letters. They
well,
said
that's
it's
what I
Yes.
said. I said on page 149 through 154, I wrote down all of the capital letters.
And it's supposed
And
to say
I went
something.
back and I did this multiple times to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And it says the old God, and then I couldn't
Yeah,
figure
see,
out the
God.
last word.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Did you get the
I
last
had-
word?
Yeah, I had.
That's what.
I didn't
No,
do
eel.
that.
Yeah,
because Alyssa
eel.
said it
That's what I
doesn't
got
make
too.
any sense.
It didn't.
I think that's his
See, it wasn't
name.
making sense
I didn't
to
try
me
it.
when I was reading it.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's like this. Big
I thought that was the
theory
name.
about both
I
of
did
them.
the capitals
It's like a
and I
inside
did.
of the
I
book.
translated the
And I was
German.
like, oh, that's too much for me.
I tried to translate the German, but
No, I
it-
did. The German said, "I've contacted the university. They claim Dr. Erickson has never been employed there. The patient removed his own nails with forceps,
Yes.
and he was convinced his hands had been replaced with the best copies. I have learned that after removing, he tried to remove his own tongue, but failed due to intervention." So, like, he went beyond crazy and thought that even his own body was a duplicate, like an exact copy, and he needed to be,
Dismember.
or something.
I didn't get as good of a translation as that, but I got enough to
Google!
like,
so I was over the book by the end.
Yeah.
So when she was in the the psych ward or whatever, was the doctor Erickson her doctor?
I don't think so.
Because I felt like when they said something about the doctor, it was one of the doctors in the inserts. Do you know what I mean?
I don't remember
I thought the basement was like the whole. things
was
started
the
changing.
portal.
Yeah. The portal.
Yeah. I felt like the basement was the portal.
Yeah. Because.
No, Dr.
But I got confused
Carver.
about the window. The
Yeah.
wallpaper. Like I had to read that a couple times. I was
Yeah, like
confused.
how did it?
What happened?
Because when she was
they redid the wallpaper that they were picking at.
I
She
feel
was
like
in the
that was
wrong-
a whoop whoop.
Yeah,
right? She
when
was
she-
removed from her timeline and put into a different one.
when she
Or-
was in the basement looking
whatever.
for something, she got
and
it.
that's
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
where that like. However, Charlotte remembers the stained glass window, so there does have that.
But that's because Charlotte.
See,
Charlie.
you know,
You mean
Charlie remembers the same, but she's from
Oh,
the
and then
original
she went-
universe.
Yes.
did Charlie go in the basement with her?
No.
No,
No.
she never went in the basement, right?
No, but the stained glass
But the
thing.
question then is, when did Charlie change?
When she went inside the house to get the clothes or whatever, when they were going to live in the hotel.
You think that's when she changed?
That's when she went somewhere to
Yeah.
find stuff, and then she
So
And then
I
they
think, and this is
Oh,
this
yeah.
they
has
switched.
no real factor, but I think so. When she goes to the basement and sees a person, when Eve goes to the basement and sees a person, Charlie's drunk that night. Eve wants her to go down to see the person. She says no, and she gets up and leaves the next morning. I think that's when she's gone forever, and you get the replacement Charlie, because I think she does actually go into the basement to look for the person that Eve saw the night before, and when she does, then
Because
she's
she
gone.
did.
She did say
she
on
was
the
down
phone
there.
that she
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
in and that
Yeah.
she didn't
So
see
I think
anything.
that's where because
Smart.
because then she
Oh,
still
yeah.
does come back,
Right.
and then it kind of leads to the basement being that portal.
But
it's-
when did the? So now I'm getting confused. Now, but what about the locket? When did that get missing? Was it?
That was when
So
she
had already taken it off, and before she left the next day, it was hanging on the
It was on the
fireplace.
hook while she was gone.
And she got angry because she felt like it was something Thomas did, because why would she have taken it off? And it was hanging there. And then when she went down to the basement and came back up, it was on Paige.
Yeah.
So for somehow, some way, it came off of Charlie's neck and was hung up when Charlie left to go out to town. And it was off of her neck the whole time.
On that nail.
On the nail.
Yeah, which I think leads to the idea
switch,
that the
right.
basement was her. She went down to the basement that night.
And
to
now
see
Thomas
if
has the
guys-
locket.
I thought it was
to
when she
keep it.
got the clothes and stuff.
No,
So
That's
then
what I thought,
wonder
too.
if there's also like a different kind of portal upstairs in the attic
Like in like Alice or maybe even Allison's room.
Yeah.
Like if it's a multi-portal kind of thing.
And it takes.
Well, I feel like it did say
somewhere
somewhere in the
else.
book that the house has many different doors that lead different places.
Yes, that is
so,
Because
But it also
can't
said
just
that
be
the doors
basement,
that the
it
doors
can also be
change.
the attic and,
Right.
Yeah.
But
and
see, that's
Allison's room
again. That's
and-
why
and
you
whatnot.
remember the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons with the house.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Mom does. We just watched it. But that's what my brain was doing.
So I read somewhere that this started as a story on Reddit, and that they were already far down the road, and so the reason why there's so many disconnects or it doesn't fully make sense is because it wasn't actually thought out before it was written,
Bless you.
and because of that they couldn't change the beginning parts of the story to like actually make it.
Oh, one at a time.
What would you love to ask the author?
What were you on?
Can I have some?
Yeah. I think I would like to ask the author, did this turn out the way he actually wanted it to be? Because I wonder with the situation that it turns out he was given in advance and he felt the pressure to get the book done based on what the people wanted and had read so far. And I wonder if he's actually proud of how it all landed, because there's so many plot holes and
Just
twists.
choppy. It was a
Yeah,
little
it's
choppy.
very choppy.
Yeah.
And it's a neat concept. It's a very neat concept.
Yeah.
I just think it was very poorly executed.
They're making a movie out of it. I'm curious to see how
Well, I hope they
will.
change the storyline. Yes, yes.
Show the camera also.
This was literally me. The entire time.
Yeah.
I don't need sleep. I need answers.
But you still didn't
And
get
I
the
didn't
answers.
get them. Yeah.
No.
I really didn't like how they made it just out, like the end just made it out that, oh, she's just crazy, she's in a mental institution.
I want to know.
No answers for you.
I want to know.
But they
What
left
whole-
it as a cliffhanger for him to write the other book.
I want to
you
know
know
what
what
the
I
whole
mean?
Morse code meant. Like, why did that matter? Like, I know that I said that could be why, but like,
But
is that why?
That's just a
The Morse code really has me hung.
That's an
because I
obsession.
took
I mean,
so
not
much
obsession.
time to translate this Morse code, and I don't feel like
I did it
have,
twice because my dad didn't
Because
do
you
it
didn't
rightly
actually
the first
do it
time.
the first time, is what you're saying?
Because it wasn't me, it was dad who
Well,
did it.
the ones I was coming up with didn't make sense because I was just like, what did you get for this?
I didn't have a singular
problem
issue. I
either.
said, "Oh,
I
Morse
did.
code, Google Morse
Look.
code,"
'Cause the
and
things
then I
are
was
close
just able
together.
to.
Well,
Yeah. What
Did
the
you get Morse code on yours?
Did
And
I
then-
understand it? No.
fuck?
I tried.
No. I don't know what.
I just Googled it.
I don't know what
Because
he
I
was
listened
doing.
to it, I didn't see it, so I just Googled it. I think that
Why the Morse code? Is that what we're
I
asking?
think it's another reason, like another red herring, so to speak. Like it's to take you on a wild goose chase, but and to just get you thinking in a different way and leading you through the story. But I don't think it actually really adds anything, which is disappointing.
It was because the whole time I was like,
I'm
This
gonna
is
get
gonna-
answers. I even like was telling my coworker, I'm like, okay, this is the new one.
I was
This is the
telling
new
my
one.
coworkers too. I was like, I'm reading this book and they end in Morse code, and there is something there, and I'm gonna find it.
And I'm always
I
going,
didn't.
did I miss one? Did I miss one? This is strange.
I can't tell you the amount of times I read the chapter with the random capital letters.
That's supposed to be some kind of code.
Yeah, but
It was, but it didn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. And I even Googled y'all.
Well, is it like a Tom Riddle thing? Like you have to
No, it literally says something about capital letters.
right, but do you have to rearrange them?
Rearrange.
No, but the
But that
first,
wouldn't even make
But the
any
first
sense.
3 words are words.
The old God.
and it's the last 5.
He just had a really shitty editor. Like I don't know. There were some errors in the book as I was listening to it, because I feel like when you listen to it, you can hear them a lot easier.
Do you
so
have
it's like
one
reading
there?
over them. And so I was like, that
When
doesn't
that was?
make sense.
Yeah, it was for 149.
Oh, I was close.
Are you gonna look again?
Yeah. Duh.
I can't tell you the amount of times that I read that chapter over and over. Like this.
I just was waiting for it to be scary. I was just
Yeah.
like, were you feeling? But it
I
never
think-
happened. Like
No, but I
was
think I was
scared.
scared reading it because I was expecting to be scared. If that makes sense. Like I was creeped out the whole time because I was waiting for it to be scary.
Everybody online said it was scary, and I was
I
like,
don't think it was
Yeah.
scary.
I didn't
I think it was
scary.
creepy. I think that she's an idiot for ever letting him in the house.
Yeah.
Me too.
Like I wouldn't have even opened the door.
No. I would have looked at the ring and been like, nobody.
No, I don't know who you are. Yep.
I would have definitely been like, nope, sorry, can't.
Yeah, but do you think it matters whether she let him in or not?
Yes.
Yes,
That's what
I
kept
do.
wondering.
It's like what is it, vampires that can't come into your house until you let them in?
Paranormal.
So, I don't know. I think she had to accept him
She
at
had
some-
to. Mhm.
for some
Yep.
thing to start.
That's how
I
I
think that
feel.
he probably would have been able to do it
He would
somehow
have found,
eventually.
Yeah, found a way.
It says all the capital letters together, the phrase, the old gods see all.
See all.
Missed this S.
And it says this implies that Thomas, and like the others, are
I missed an entire letter.
omnipresent.
Omnipresent,
Uh-huh.
everywhere.
Yeah. So, that's what it says.
Yeah. Guess I missed a capital S. Oops.
I can't believe you missed it. Missed it.
Ah, how dare I? I also wondered if there was some kind of way to translate whatever the stupid
This.
whoop-de-whoop is.
Yeah, I had that idea too.
Do you want a cookie?
And I want a cookie.
Okay.
Don't y'all want a cookie?
There's brown. You want a brownie?
Jesus.
Oh, am I supposed to roll?
You're so pretty.
Yeah. Is
So pretty.
5,
Prettiest ever.
6.
No, absolutely not. Thank you.
What would you love to ask the author?
No.
Oh,
you
no,
already asked it.
5. Here we go. Which place in the book would you love to visit? I don't know.
The town
guess the house.
far off
I'd
away.
go, I'd go to Old Dog Mountain or whatever.
Me, the
and
dog
meet all the
summit.
dogs.
The dog
Yep.
summit.
Dog Summit.
Yep.
That's where I'd go.
I'd go and get all the dogs.
I want to check out the teepee or little A-frame house with all of the different writings and whatnot on the walls. Like where the creepy old man was.
Yeah, I don't want to be a creepy old man.
Yeah, that was like.
I like Victorian homes, so I would probably.
That's why I said
I'd
the
lock the door.
town hecka far away.
I feel like the answers though are in that little house.
Yeah.
In the
feel like-
cabin?
Yeah. Like I feel like that's where
Yeah, because why did he have the like the blueprints?
it's what he stole them. I think like that's
Like that
well, not
fire
stolen.
that happened.
Yeah.
He stole it all and
Yeah,
did
and
the
then burnt
fire to
everything
make it
down.
look like it
Oh,
was.
Oh
yeah,
but
yeah.
why is the
Oh,
big
yeah,
deal of the
100%.
blueprints?
Because he's Tom.
Because it's the house, right? The blueprints of the house. It's because it keeps changing. So if the blueprints exist, then they have the original blueprints, and you can see that things have been changed.
So it proves.
Do you know what I mean?
So it-
So it would prove that something's going on.
Well, and it's not just the blueprints of that house though. They said of everything in the town, which kind
Yeah.
of goes back to Heather's house. Not,
everything being.
But also, can
Right.
we talk about the house has different addresses?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But I think like that goes to the layout of the town if it's
That's
changing.
when I really got confused because I was like, what?
I know.
even
I
she
had
was
to
just like-
But I
had to
depends
come
on
back
what
and was
timeline
like,
you're in,
wait.
what address it is.
Right.
But again,
But
if
similar.
you
Similar
had
addresses.
stolen all of the town's blueprints, maps, all of that, then when things change, there's no proof that things have changed because it was all in a fire. There's
Right,
no
right.
evidence
Gone,
of
there's
what it
nothing.
was.
Right.
Because wasn't like one of the timelines the lady's next door's husband was alive
right.
when she was
In the
getting
new
carted
Last
away.
one.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the last one that
Yep.
something weird was going on in that house too when she like freaked out that Charlie wasn't home and ran to the neighbors. There was something going on there too with the door opening and closing.
Maybe it's just the town.
That that house may be part of the epicenter from the cabin. There may be more than one house.
I definitely think it is.
If you're looking at the cabin as the epicenter of everything, then it's kind of like Stranger Things, where there's feelers all out to everything, and there's different ones all over the place.
Well, I'm sure it
And
just
then there's an
affects the
epicenter
whole
of it.
area.
Right.
It probably affects the whole
Right.
town. There's an idea that I read online that said Heather's house didn't exist in some of the timelines. And it was pulled from in the timeline that she had currently been in, and it was pulled from a different timeline or multiverse or whatever you want to call it to be in that one, which is why the house didn't match the rest of the surroundings. It looked like it came out of the suburbs and it didn't belong. The style didn't match, and the doors didn't match as well because she had apparently one really long hallway. She said it looked like a hotel room or a hotel with doors on either side. So I thought that was interesting too. Because it wasn't the neighbors that she was expecting. It was some little lady.
Where was this one?
Roll away.
There's a lot of 5s.
What one lesson you'll take with you from this book?
Don't let strangers in your fucking house.
Yeah, don't open
Pretty
the door.
much.
Sorry,
But we wouldn't do that anyway.
Okay.
No.
Would you normally in real life?
Hell no. I'd send them away.
Can I tell you a little story about when I lived in Jacksonville?
Did you let strangers in your house?
I did not. My aunt and uncle were traveling down to Florida, but like to the south of Florida, and they decided to stop and visit me and say hi. So they knocked on the door and they asked for Debbie, and because they didn't know my husband, we were brand new married, and he said, "Oh yeah, sure, she's in the shower. Come on in."
Oh my god.
So they came in and spent 25 minutes with people that moved in after we left. They said they had a great visit with Debbie and her husband, but it wasn't me.
It was a different Debbie.
It was a different Debbie.
That is hilarious.
And my aunt was like, I thought it was weird that I didn't recognize anybody in the pictures in the living room. Like, but I was just like, okay, well, I mean, maybe it's his side of the family. I don't know.
Dude.
No.
Yeah, somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes, they sat in the living room waiting for me, but it wasn't me.
But we already
Other Debbie.
You're taking a long
To
shower.
get out of the shower and get dressed and whatever.
So she came out and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're not Debbie.
But then I didn't get a visit because they didn't know where I lived, so they got back on the road and kept going.
That is hilarious.
True story.
It's so weird that her name is your name.
I know, isn't that weird?
So that was meant
So
to
weird.
happen.
Very, very odd. But they said they had a lovely visit with her.
I think the other thing is like when your partner asks you for help or, you know, like you need to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Because there were a couple of times where Charlie was just like passive in that. Like she could have been firm and said, "All right, get the hell out of my house."
Right.
She could clearly see that her partner was not
Was
comfortable,
distressed.
Right.
Right.
but allowed it to continue.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and
Right.
then her partner tells her there's somebody in her basement, and she's like, "I'm too drunk to deal with this." Like that would sober me up so quick to be like,
Right.
"There's somebody in
What the
my house."
fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know if on the other hand, because it does say that Eve, you know, it gets a little carried away. Maybe she was just like, "Oh, this is just you."
Right,
You know, whatever.
but
And the
but I
monkey.
feel
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that she was hypersensitive about things like that would have, like, for me, if I knew my partner was oversensitive and like gets freaked out easily and started feeling these things, it's not like you know these people. Like, put your foot down, be the bigger person, as Mom says, and do the things for your partner who physically can't
Who
do
you
it
know has
there's
trouble
definitely a
doing
lot.
it.
right, who can't stand up for herself.
Yeah, there's definitely a line.
Yeah.
Like letting them in the house to look around. But after I found out that they were there for more than 15 minutes, I would have been like, okay, we're done. Like you have overstayed your welcome.
You've had your time.
I let
Please
her.
move on.
I let her try to handle the situation. She did a shitty job. I am clearly the dominant personality in this relationship. It is my duty
That's exactly what I
to
meant.
protect my
the
family.
dominant
and,
personality.
And like I would expect the same of my partner.
right.
in their strengths to step up and do those things. And
Yeah,
so I
that
think-
bothered me too.
Yeah, that really bothered
It really
me.
bothered
I don't
me.
agree with that.
Oh, you don't?
No, because she was trying to work on herself. And if she was her partner, then she knew she was working on it. And she knew that she is, like, oversensitive. And, well,
Trying to give her room to grow.
giving her room to grow,
Yeah.
you have to let them do. You have to let them be.
Even
No.
with strangers, it's
So-
like
Yeah, but I feel like it went
There's some
past
people-
that though.
but
I
there's-
agree with that, but it went past
But
that.
there are some people that are just really people pleasers. Like, okay, just 5 more minutes and just, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, okay. And
But
then-
that's what I mean, because
Yeah.
I'm that person. Like,
So that's
I'm
what I
the
mean.
one who's not going to say anything, even though I'm uncomfortable and I want them to leave.
Yeah,
And
But you
so,
wouldn't have let them in to begin with.
well, no, I wouldn't have opened the door.
But then again, we
but
wouldn't have
that's
this book.
But that's not.
Right.
But that's not my point. My point is that
After a certain amount of time.
I identified with Eve on that of not being able to say no, and needing somebody to be strong for me, and like protect me almost.
Well, I mean, I don't know about protecting.
I don't need anybody protecting me.
no,
See
I
myself.
See, that's
See,
where
but you're the dominant person, though.
Yeah.
I'm only a dominant person when I'm taking care of somebody I care about. If it has to do with me, I'm not, like, for my own self, I don't stick up for myself.
If somebody told me, if he was to tell me, or she was to tell me, no, you need to get them, I can take care of it. Be like, let me do it. I
Yeah.
would do the exact opposite.
But Eve is so like people pleasing. I need
Yeah.
to bend over backwards. Okay,
Right.
fine. I can't. I'm just push over. They just need
And
this
it
many
was a
minutes.
snowstorm. And,
Right, and
you know.
and I do see both in the sense that like after so long, Charlie could have just put her foot down and been like, okay, I see that you're not handling this situation well. We'll try again on another time. This time is over. You're uncomfortable.
Yeah, but
I'm
you're
uncomfortable.
also forgetting that they were allowing the kid to be in the basement all that time.
But right.
So they were waiting for the kid to come out of the basement as well.
Yeah,
So,
so
it
it
wasn't
wasn't
really
just her.
100% about her not putting her foot down.
But that was at dinner. So after dinners, when Jenny came out, and that's when Charlie should have been like, all right, get out.
Right.
Yeah. And I think they left not long after dinner. And the
Then the
road was
snowstorm
closed. And
happened.
they
Yeah, so they had no
Snow-
choice to stay.
They had to stay.
So what? I mean, how did you feel about how
I mean,
Charlie
did they-
reacted though when she heard that?
But did they have to stay? Because wasn't that hotel like right there?
Yeah, they totally could.
And
No, the
supposedly-
hotel was a little bit of a hike.
No, because, yeah, she had to drive like,
They had to drive.
like
You wanna
20
put
or
that in
30
the
minutes
fridge?
back or
I'm not
something.
gonna
But it
Any
would have
more of
been
that.
fine before, because it was before the bridge. The reason why the storm was a problem because the bridge was out.
Right.
So they would have been fine to get to the hotel. Okay,
But didn't they think that the hotel wasn't even active or whatever? Like
Yeah,
it wasn't
they
even
think it was
open?
open.
I don't
Right.
think it matters because Thomas needed to be in the house anyway.
Here's the other thing is, all of that aside, he started moving their furniture into the house.
Yeah, the rock.
that was so creepy. Okay,
Yeah.
that was probably the creepiest. That was my biggest problem. Like you are staking your claim here.
All right,
Like,
let's use here for 2
Which, and that's
seconds.
after he got rid
I'm
of Charlie,
not okay
who
with
was the
that.
stronger, who would put her foot down and say no.
Well, some people do things out if he lived there. Some people do things out of like one nervous habit or this is where this was and
No, he brought
the
the
rocker.
rocking chair from the car.
Page's
Oh, yeah.
rocker because she needed it to.
sit-
for her back or
Yeah.
whatever.
That was like okay. That is the strangest thing I've ever heard.
What?
yeah.
Why is your furniture in my
Well, the
house?
strangest thing is why you walk into someone's house and say, "Can I go in your house?"
The strangest thing is the whole no cell phone when you're traveling.
Oh, yeah, that's so weird.
Across the.
Okay,
And then all of a sudden the kid had a
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
So-
Then she had one.
so the premise of the pastor taking them all up and they're gonna FedEx them back at the end of the month, but they
they
don't even know
moved.
where they're gonna be because they moved.
Uh-huh.
And also, you're not a part of that parish anymore. Like I am very confused.
Yeah, that was all that.
I had that same
Very
thought too.
far-fetched.
Like, oh, okay, so your pastor took your phones, cool, but then you're moving and you have no idea where you're going. You're just kind of going with the wind. So you're not like, excuse me, I understand. However,
No, he had a job, like a new job. I don't know what.
yeah, but they
where.
didn't have a house.
No.
Not
They
that I
were in
know
it.
of.
So how? So where would?
But why wouldn't you take your phone?
That's what I mean.
When you left.
The cell phone thing was another reason why I was more on the paranormal side than the different universe side.
But he did end up having his cell phone. The boy.
Supposedly, because it ended
Supposedly.
up being
Was it
Eve's.
his?
I don't think it was his.
No, because she was adamant about
She
seeing
saw
it.
her.
She saw the cracked screen and everything.
I mean, she was also adamant that her name was Eve, and clearly it was Emma.
She was also adamant that she
was-
had a stained glass window.
Yeah.
Clearly it was. I mean, so.
yeah, but it was though, because Thomas made reference to the stained glass window when they were doing the tour.
In the beginning, yeah.
In the
Yes,
beginning.
but he said there's a different room.
Mm.
And then the antler chandelier comes back.
Yeah. The whole
Very
book is
strange.
fucked and no one knows anything.
It's true.
It really is.
Like, that's my takeaway.
It's very odd.
All right.
Yeah. Who picked that damn book?
It was
TikTok.
me.
Colleen.
It was
Me and
me.
TikTok.
I volunteered as tribute.
It's gotten better though.
3.
Well, look at all the you
And
learned
3.
Morse code and German.
Which character do you connect with most?
Not a
Oh.
damn one.
How about Shiloh?
Aww.
We're like right here.
So here's the thing about Shiloh. Why was she not afraid of Tom?
Because she knew him.
But I think she was. Because she was at the top of the stairs and growled when they first got there. Like, I think she was
But
initially.
she
but
was
Eve-
a switch
Eve
dog
even-
too, though. In the end, like when they went
well, yeah, I
in
guess
the
that's
hotel,
But
she was a switch dog.
But at the beginning, she...
Well, but no, you know what I mean? Because, like, Eve made comment about, like, wow, I can't believe she's going up to you. She doesn't go up to anyone.
Like
But maybe
anybody.
she's the switch dog.
But that wasn't until Charlie came back.
Yeah.
Because I agree, before Charlie came back, Charlotte was like, no, thank you. I'm going to stay up here.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't remember. I read it
Yes.
over a month ago.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Because she was not about it, and then Charlie came back, and
And then the dog was fine with Thomas.
Could it have been that the dog had a switch?
The dog went in the
Then?
basement. The dog went in the basement with her.
Right.
Right. That's what I she mean.
Yeah, the
Yes.
first time.
But that's what I mean.
But
But
Could it
maybe
just-
that's when they switched.
Right.
That's probably
the dog
Because
had
it
that
went away,
switch, and
it
now
probably-
is Thomas's dog.
I almost want to read it again after we've all talked about all of these things.
I'm confused already.
I mean, I'm not going to because I have a lot of other
Google
different
it.
books that I would rather read.
No, but honestly, like, there's another book with the same title called We Used to Live
Yes,
Here.
by different-
So much better.
by a different author.
Very good. Highly recommend 10 out of 10. Not this book.
Yeah, I did because I downloaded that one first.
you wanna read
we'll
it?
read it.
No.
Have you read it? You should read
I
it.
moved on to another book.
Oh, that's too bad. It's not the same. It's totally different premise.
I
You should read it. The same. It's
I
the
think
same.
I've read
Starts
like
with the same
3
premise
books
of like
since this one.
people knock on the door
Maybe
and say,
only
"Hey,
2.
we used to live here," but then it diverges entirely.
I do want to kind of see the movie because Blake Lively's going to be in it, just to see what.
Is she?
Yeah, what
does she play?
Is it? But is it?
Probably.
But is it
this one or is it
this
the other
one
one?
or is it her?
I think it's
this
this
one.
one because it said Eve
Yeah, because
and her
when,
partner.
Oh, I've
because
only
I
read
remember
2
when I
books
looked
since
up this
one.
book because y'all suggested it. I was like, oh, she's gonna be in the movie for
I love
Blake
Blake
Lively.
Lively.
Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, I'd still watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to watch it to see
Maybe we
what
should
they.
have a
We
watch
should go-
party.
Yes, that would be fun.
Maybe
we
they
figure it
do.
out.
They do a better job of like rewriting the script so that
Yes.
because
It
most
makes
people-
sense.
a little more sense
It'll
and it's
have to make
conjoined.
sense.
But maybe we'll get closure with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a totally
Probably
different
won't.
story. If
Probably.
we're being honest, 'cause they
Yeah.
have to cut out all of the extra stuff because it has to be a less than 2 hour runtime. So
I mean, I keep telling you, there was closure. Emma's an institution, and Charlie is looking for her missing Eve.
in 2 different.
But that wasn't closure to me because the end of the book just made it seem like Eve was crazy.
No.
And like the whole
No,
story was
Emma's
made up.
crazy.
Emma.
No. Because
Right, but
literally
they kept
Thomas
calling-
said,
But they kept calling her Emma and she's like, no, my
Right.
name's Eve.
but
Because
the
Emma's
very,
crazy.
but the very end of it, Thomas came up
Thomas
to
calls her
her
Eve, though.
and said,
He did.
Eve,
Oh,
I
no.
know this was important to you and Charlie.
Yes.
Right, yes, he
And
did.
gives her the locket with her picture in
Right.
it from
Yep.
the time when
Right.
Charlie was wearing it.
Right.
Meaning, you're not crazy. This was real.
Yep.
Here's your stuff.
yeah,
But nobody else remembers it.
multiverse.
Do you know what I mean?
Parallel
universe.
That was the ending closure. It was Thomas saying,
You're not,
you
you're not
are
crazy.
Eve.
You're not crazy.
You do have
are
a
Eve, but
Charlie.
you aren't anymore.
It was
That's
him,
not who you are.
him validating it, but it doesn't matter because
Right.
she's in a different world.
Right.
Right.
And she could hang on to this, but if she mentioned it and been like, see, he told me, there's no proof. And that was him telling you, like,
Yeah.
you're my sister now, and your name is Emma.
Yeah.
And this is your new life. Get out of here. But, yeah. That's yeah. I do think that it'll be interesting to watch, though.
I wanted more people to die.
I wanted something.
No one died. Oh no, Paige did.
She's not even on camera.
What's missing is
Was special guest star Emmeline.
yeah.
I feel like
If it's any consolation.